Match about to start. Bombers won the toss. They kick to the left of screen. Chris Mitchell will throw the ball in the air. I notice a James Hird starting in the centre square. So that's a little change there. And a free kick immediately picked out and going to Derek Kickett. So Lee, Hird starting up in the centre square at the beginning of the match.
Yes, it happens quite regularly. My concern is he can get the ball anywhere on the ground, but he's never in the forward line when they need him if he's up the ground like that.
Free kick to Berbatov. To Pryor. Robbo, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Bruce. Looking forward to an interesting game as usual here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Pryor's kick is good. Fraser, the last-minute inclusion at the expense of Damien Hardwick. His kick towards half-forward and lands on the chest of Hird. Gives the handball away to Cockatoo Collins. Back he goes to Hird. Hird gets past. Then gee whiz, sit underneath this Sean Denham and be honest, he did. But it was taken away nearly by O'Loughlin. But the free kick has been selected there by the umpire and it will go to Essendon. And to be taken by Gary O'Donnell, being held by the jumper. O'Donnell, the Essendon captain. Perhaps his season so far not quite what he would have liked. Beautiful kick in towards half-forward. Danaher could have nearly been paid the mark. Handball over the top. Somerville tries to get it back in the direction of Fletcher. He gets it eventually. Fletcher right up the ground. He's kicked towards full forward. No mark. After it goes Kelthorpe, he's ridden into the ground there by Luff. The ball over. And the boundary umpire will throw it in right forward pocket for the Bombers. It's blustery conditions here at the Sydney Cricket Ground and rain has been predicted, so it's going to be difficult if the rain falls. The struggle there. Carey couldn't quite squeeze a kick out for the Swans. Number 12 with the football is Kevin Dyson, and the umpire will ball it up right in front of the Essendon goal, only 20 metres out.
As Robert said, the Bombers deep in attack. Creswell, who gave it up to Calthorpe, who snaps. And it's behind. First score of the match from David Calthorpe. Sean Wellman standing Tony Lockett in the first few minutes. And Fletcher on Carey. This is Chapman, who's started this year well. And so Shannon Grant playing in the back line, goes out to kick it. Oh, Pryor got up high, no free kick to kick it. A bit of a surprise. Seymour into Stafford, promising young ruckman to fall forward. Lockett not quite in the best position. Carey, good try from the side in his debut. Bombers want a free kick, won't get it. Looks an athlete, the 20-year-old Stephen Carey. There's Dustin Fletcher. So throw up Somerville there. Masidi. And that bounces about 3-4 metres inside the line. There's Ben Doolan and out of play. Crowd building up. This live telecast back into Melbourne and to a lot of cities around Australia. Somerville at the back. Ruse, hip and shoulder was good. To Luff, controlled it well actually to Grant. Grant can attack. Out wide in front of Lockett. Oh, he took it beautifully, the big man. His handball inside was good. Maxwood under pressure. Bouncing ball. Coming back. It's a goal. What about that? Wonderful play by Lockett. And an excellent goal by Maxwood. And Sydney produced one from nowhere, Lee.
Well, that's the bounce of the ball. Sometimes it bounces for you and sometimes it doesn't. But really, that quick kick, I mean, it was a great pick up by Lockett, an excellent hand pass, but it was under pressure, of course. Maxwood was always going through for a point, but back on the right angle and through for a goal, and that's the only thing that counts.
And Stafford up early, but Somerville got it to Masidi. Masidi's kick towards full forward. No mark. Duckley under pressure. Applied by Mercury. In goes Philandia. The ball in front of the Essendon goal is scrambled over for a rush behind, but a free kick has been picked out, and it will go to the Swans to be taken by Philandia. He decides to hand pass quickly to Grant, who looks as though he's the replacement kick-in player for Scott Doreen, who was unfortunately badly hurt a couple of weeks ago. Kickett, been paid the mark? No. He looks at the umpire appealingly, Derek Kickett. Shakes his head in disappointment, but the boundary umpire will throw it in. Centre wing. Exactly. The Swans lead. They've kicked a goal. Essendon have kicked 2 behinds. The Essendon reserves won by 14 points. And not much happening there. Dyson underneath there. And the umpire will ball it up once again. Doesn't look too bad apart from the well, what would be the cricket pitch area here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Oh, down goes Kickett. Pryor gets the hand pass out. Well done. The Bombers will get clear. This is Fraser. Fraser's kick towards half forward. Getting back Kelly. Gathers the football. Tackled. Gets the hand pass away. James Hird. Lovely hand pass, Calthorpe. Calthorpe, a pot shot for goal. It's going close to the line. And eventually just slips past Cockatoo Collins and goes through for another behind. Essendon player in a little bit of strife back at the 50-metre line as Grant kicks in. Swans have kicked a goal. Essendon are 3 behind. This is Maxfield.
Scott Cummings, the player too, Robert.
Maxfield's kick finds Derek Kickett on centre wing.
To Maxfield. To centre half forward. Not a good kick. Somerville got back well to take it. Cummings in all sorts of trouble here. Not sure if he'll stay on. Somerville wide. That's a poor kick. And courageous marked him off. He had to stand his ground. He can certainly get the ball up. There's no question about that. There's Cummings. Let's hope he can shake it off. He's been very good in his 2 matches to date. But he's going to come off the ground, Cummings. Luff wide. That's not a good kick. Dorlan was there. He was looking for Carey. Pryor, left foot. Back into about the 50-metre range, and Seymour, good job. O'Connor was happy to see him go forward and try and work him under the ball. And again, Kickett's made some space and takes the mark. He does love playing against Essendon. There's no question about that.
Wonder why.
Former Bomber man who missed out on that grand final, that premiership. And he left the club under controversial circumstances.
Well done by Mark Mercury, not giving away the free kick. Front on tackle on Dyson.
Simon's on the field at full forward basically for Cummings, who's gone off.
And that would be a blow, Cummings, because he has been their goal kicker in the 2 matches, only played the couple.
And James Hird dropping well forward, almost playing in the true full forward position, and Kelly is actually playing on him at this point, which is an unusual matchup for the Swans.
Well, we just saw Cummings on the interchange bench, and hopefully we'll get some sort of a report there as to the extent of his injury. The kick towards full forward, but getting back there to fill up a bit of a gap there in front of Lockett is Somerville. And he marks safely on his chest. He's at centre half back, decides to play on. Handballs across that line to Thompson. Thompson's kick is wide, and it's well marked by Chris Danaher. Chris Danaher is on centre wing. Gives the hand pass. In a little spot of bother there was Thompson. Short kick, gathered Hird. Hand pass, was it? No, a throw, according to the umpire. So the free kick will be taken for Sydney at right half back by Paul Kelly. Kelly goes short. An awkward one there for Cresswell. Kicked away by Denham. And in the finish, Sean Denham didn't do too bad there. First of all, dispossessing Cresswell and then forcing a boundary throw in Russell Morris on the boundary line.
Yeah, Scott Cummings, Robbo, has a slightly wrenched knee. Obviously with knees, they don't know until maybe they put some ice on it. And I'm not too sure whether it'll come on, but it's up to the doctors. But with knees, you never know.
Well, thanks for that, Russell. Dyson had it for a while. There's Cummings, who's had a bit of a warmer. One of the tackles on Dyson towards the end was a bit high, but he has been pinged. Mercedes just gives it off to Calthorpe. Calthorpe runs to centre half forward with the football. Somerville, who's covering a bit of ground. Stafford missed it. Simons, tackle on Dunkley looked a bit high. Hird just dropped it. And now trying to crash through Mercury. Umpire's letting it go. And it'll be a throw-up. It's an interesting matchup. Kelly on Hird. Hird's movement, a worry, I guess, for Sydney. And Kelly will run with him and cover the ground. So the Brownlow medalist on the man who's won the best and fairest the last couple of years at Essendon. McPherson goes for the safety of the boundary line and finds it. It's a goal to Sydney. Maxfield kicked it in the first couple of minutes. Essendon 3 points. It's been in Essendon's attack for most of this first quarter. Mark Fraser, the late inclusion for Damien Hardwick. The only change to the team's name last night. O'Connor had a fair bit of it. Philandia, very well done inside. Then Dyson. Roos out after it. Will be outnumbered. I think the boundary line might be the best option. He works Fletcher towards it. Chapman's there with Mercedes. Mercedes was trying to claim off Chapman out of bounds on the full, but the boundary umpire was well placed. There's Paul Roos coming up towards 300 games. Started his career way back in 1982. So he's in his 15th season of senior football. Mercedes floater. Back to about the 50. Dunkley with those long arms. Cockatoo Collins clever to Dorlan. Good kick to the front of the square. At the back, Simons. They all went to ground. Danaher, the easiest of goals, goes around and kicks it. Well, you can't fall over in the goal square, and not one but two Sydney players went to ground. Simons kept his, and now Essendon lead by 3 points.
It's an interesting defence that the Swans have set up. It's Andrew Dunkley, who's probably 6'1" in the old language, is probably the tallest player down there, particularly with Paul Kelly going back onto James Hird. But given that it's going to be difficult to mark the ball, it'll just be interesting to see whether that more mobility that the Swans have got in their defence will help them and to be their advantage.
Essendon lead by 3 points. Perhaps Paul Kelly's determination to just get at the football there, giving Essendon a real chance to score that goal. Brad didn't have the football. Blatant free kick. The advantage is with the Bombers. Fletcher sweeps onto his right foot, kicks in towards half forward. Brilliantly gathered by Hird. He is a magical player when he's on fire, but they lose possession at centre half back, and away go the Swans. The kick is wide out towards the wing, and a good mark taken by Roos. I think everyone likes to see Paul Roos playing well. Heavily strapped right thigh, which we've become accustomed to. The kick is to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin looks to play on and gets precious meterage too. His kick will land inside 50 metres, but not really to the advantage of his teammates up in the forward line. And a fairly ordinary free kick been awarded there to Somerville in the left back pocket for Essendon. He gets the hand pass across to Pryor. Pryor in towards the half back area. Thompson running with the flight of the ball. Kicks it wide, very wide, out into the path of Mark Fraser. He's a dasher, and it bounced favourably for him. He's kicking towards half forward. It will be marked, and very well done in the finish by O'Connor. He's perhaps, well, he could score. He's inside 50, but a very, very difficult angle. You can see the crowd there. Just in the background, he's, well, very close to the boundary line in that right half forward to forward pocket region, about 45 metres from goal. This is Ryan O'Connor. Lovely long kick floating across the face. Has it scored? It may have gone out of bounds over the players on that goal line, and that boundary umpire there to the left will throw it in. So the ruckman will contest here. This is Stafford 15, O'Connor number 3, and it's bashed straight back over, so the boundary umpire will repeat the dose.
1-3 to a goal. Stafford, the ruckman Greg Stafford, the 21-year-old. He's showing a lot of promise. Hird over the top. Gets it back to Doolan. Quick kick away. He's also playing against his old club tonight. He's been at Windy Hill for a while now. And that one just bouncing inside and out of play. Left forward pocket. And Essendon winning the toss, kicking to the left. And a pretty blustery night. There's a fair bit of wind about. Kelly running towards the boundary line. As Robbo said a few moments ago, eyes on the ball, but unfortunately knocked Seymour over in the goal square and allowed Simons to handball to Danaher, who kicked the goal. Stafford worked under it. Hird again, another handball to Danaher. Couldn't quite trap it, was difficult. Luff got in there. Quick kick away by Creswell and to the boundary line and out of play. So Sydney have worked it out to about the 50-metre mark. Now, the weather tonight in Sydney, we've had a lot of rain. I was up here yesterday and it rained nearly all day. Possible shower or two. Currently 18, and it's not expected to get much below that. So it's pretty mild. Stafford, O'Connor again working in under it. Well done, Stafford. Got his boot to it. Berbakoff got a poor bounce. Carey. Back to Chapman. Hook around the body. Somerville, strong, was able to get rid of Roos. He started very well, Somerville. Getting back to help the defence with Lockett too. That's a floater. Difficult to mark. Hird, Stafford, Philandia. Another touch for him. McPherson, well played. Seymour courageously. Luff went with Mercury. Neither gave an inch. It was good football. And then they all jump on top of it with Shannon Grant down there. And a few taps on the heads from teammates of both clubs saying well done. And another throw up about 50 metres from goal. Bombers in attack. Chris Danaher scored their goal. Stewie Maxfield the goal scorer for Sydney. Quick kick by Denham. Fraser got a bad bounce within Maxfield. Denham against the flow. Showed some courage. O'Loughlin. Well played by Fletcher. Now to Pryor. Pryor in the centre.
Pryor off his left foot across the half forward line. Good crumbing provided by Doolan. Doolan's quick kick towards full forward. But just picking that off a little bit quicker than his opponent fell for was McPherson. And he's marked on that full back line. He goes short. And the mark is taken there by Cresswell. He's helped out with a shepherd provided by Seymour, gives him a clean path, and his kick into the centre has been taken by Chapman. Chapman's kick is in the Lockett direction, and he's taken the mark. A good one in front of Wellman. He's 50 metres from goal. So testing material for Big Plugger.
Yeah, got the big body in front, and really once he gets that frame in front and jumps, hard for any defender. Wellman hasn't got the size to be able to get over the top once Lockett gets the front position.
Well, we'll soon see which in the wind advantage is. It's a terrific kick by Lockett. It's a goal. Rowlett just kept on going. It must have got into the breeze and eventually got that distance quite easily.
Yes, they did. Both sides are really trying to keep space in their forward line, particularly the Swans. Really, Lockett and O'Brien are the only two players sort of forward of the centre for big parts of the ground. That's the way the Swans play this ground. Push their players up the field and then kick back to Lockett and O'Brien and try and flow back with the ball.
Stafford out of the centre. Free kick coming back to Derek Kickett, I think. So he's such a long kick. He be able to get it right down in the Lockett direction. He's looking for Lockett. That's a great pass. He's got it. Plugger's on song early. Remember last year when we came up here and he kicked 8 against Carlton. And it really tore the heart out of the Blues early in that match. And that's a fine kick by one veteran to another. He's quite remarkable, Derek Kickett. He's 33 years of age, turning 34 this year and going as well as ever. And so is this man. Only Coventry, Dunstall and Wade have kicked more goals in the 100-year history of VFL/AFL football. Lockett to kick from about 48 metres. It's coming back. It's close. I think he's got it. He's got his second.
We've got about 8 minutes left in the first quarter. It's been good for the Swans so far. Fraser, this is O'Loughlin. Handball over the top. Chance for Luff to force it forward for the Swans again in the direction of Lockett. His recovery is good. He just snaps the ball out of the air. Then the hand pass not quite so good. Chris Danaher in a bit of strife. Now Michael Pryor. Swift little hand pass finds Doolan. Doolan with some space. The shepherd was provided by Pryor, which was excellent footy. And then the kick towards half forward has been marked very well by Shea Cockatoo Collins. He looks to play on. He's been asked to do so by the umpire. He kicks towards the front of the goals. James Hurd up high, couldn't take the mark. Seymour, Mercury. Now the chance is with Michael Simons. The snapshot is marked right on the line by Troy Luff. He plays on. Kicks in short. And a great diving mark is taken by Peter Philandia.
See him back after suffering a bad injury at the start of last year. He's kicked to centre wing. Roos was the target. Berbakoff flew. O'Donnell's got hold of it. Well done, Roos. Berbakoff tries to break the tackle. Sydney's tackling's been good. Roos couldn't keep it in, out of play. Right in front of the 7 commentary box. We're on the 7th floor here in Sydney. We've got a great view of this match. It's an exciting place to be when there's a fair crowd in, and that's what we've got tonight, and this team is going very well. Denham. Nicely done. O'Donnell, I think he meant that. On the side to Harvey, got a bad bounce. Look at it properly, Harvey. Got a poor bounce and Seymour ran it out. And out of play. So Sydney holding Essendon up, and the Bombers have had a fair bit of the football. But those 2 goals from Lockett have opened the game up for the Swans. Mercedes high ball, back to centre half forward. Hurd goes from the front. At the back was Dunkley. He was claiming the mark, but Kelly and Hurd were there with him and probably got a hand on it first, and it's going to be a throw up. Now Stan Grant watching in the centre there from 11 a.m. He's a real footy fan, loves the AFL. Quick kick away by Creswell. Good mark to Chapman at centre wing.
Don't mind the look of this guy. He's a very determined young fella in the Swans colours. Wade Chapman. His kick out towards right half forward. Awkward one. Very, very awkward for Carey. He can't control it. And the Bombers' defence lock it up right close to the boundary line. So the umpire will do very well here to keep it in the field of play. He's going to throw it in the air, only a couple of metres away from the boundary line. The Swans 3 goals straight, lead Essendon 1-3. We've got just over 5 minutes left. Doolan runs away, then gets it back onto his right foot and kicks it very nicely. Hits O'Connor on the chest from about 40 metres. O'Connor looks to play on. Get the ball into the forward line quickly. Give those boys back there a chance to take it, but it's brilliantly taken behind James Hird by the Brownlow medalist Kelly. Plays on, gets it down to McPherson. He could be run down. No, he gets clear and then kicks it back towards the wing. The race is on now, and Doolan is first back. Another little short kick, and Berbatov had to sit underneath it, taken away by Chris Danaher.
Danaher attacks the goal front, kick too far for Hurd. A couple of times Hurd's been let down by players coming forward. Kelly's kick, Chapman, well done to be in the contest, and clever by Dyson to kick it, whose handball should be accurate. It's brilliant to Maxfield. If it sits, he could go all the way. Fraser runs brilliantly to run him down, and then Maxfield kicks poorly. That's a very ordinary effort, actually. Thompson's got it, so a chance gone. Berbatov at half-back. His kick to centre wing to Doolan's a good one. Doolan has been prominent early. Didn't take the mark, but will run off at Roos. Left foot, well done again by Shannon Grant, and then ridden into the ground by Mercury. He'll get a free kick. The advantage is given to Creswell. Now Kickett will have to move. Oh, clever to Dyson. Wonderful vision. Problems here. Well done, Dunkley. Little give by Chapman to Kickett. Kickett could go over the top. Tries a torp. Again, a poor effort. So Maxfield and Kickett are blazed and let their forwards down, and Somerville's taken the mark.
Well, especially when you get clear possession like they have from the 50-metre area, and they weren't under pressure when either one of them kicked the football. Somerville has found Bomber Thompson. Bomber Thompson runs outside the 50, kicks close to the line on centre wing, and it's knocked away there by Troy Luff from Ben Doolan.
I think it's fairly easy to see early in the game that Peter Somerville will almost be playing as a second full-back. So if the Swans just want to blaze the ball into that spot 20 metres out from goal, Somerville's going to be there waiting as a spare man.
Ball comes down to Denham, finds some space, throws it onto his right foot. The kick will land 50 metres from goal for Essendon, but it's taken by Dunkley. Handball for Landia. Landia runs away from 50 metres. It's an awkward floating kick into the centre, brilliantly taken by O'Loughlin. Away to Dyson. Dyson off the left foot, out in front of Beck Plugger. Oh, he nearly got hold of it. He had his hands on it. He's able to shrug the tackle, then run away, but he's slung as he kicks, and it floats away to the left out on the full. So the free kick to Essendon, and full credit to the Essendon player who eventually persevered and put Lockett off his kick. Thompson able to run from the back pocket and kick towards the wing.
Stafford at the back, Mercury's handball to Fraser, who should be gone. And he had a little chance.
I think that's a good interpretation, though. He maybe had a step, but I suppose in recent weeks it may have been holding the ball, but I think that's a better interpretation. The player has to have a genuine opportunity to have got rid of the ball.
Somerville and Stafford. Kickett tries to barge through. Dyson falls on top, gets tackled, and again it's going to be a throw-up.
And it's interesting that James Hird's been put back into Essendon's forward goal square. I think Kevin Sheedy's decided that on the one-on-one matchup with Kelly at full forward, Hird might be at his most dangerous. It'll be interesting to see how that develops.
Somerville, Mercedes, Chapman was a tackler. Doolan again, who's having a big opening term, then attacks, centres the ball. O'Connor and Hurd targets. Kelly flies. Simons at the back, push forward. Dunkley, McPherson, Hurd sweating on him. McPherson concedes, and that's a behind. The Bombers are 1-4 and Sydney 3 goals.
8 kicks to Doolan in the first term.
Got to be a bit careful of defender kicking the ball through these days.
I was going to say, good goal umpiring. You paid the point correctly.
Well, we think he did. It wouldn't have made any difference, would it, Lee? Who kicked it? No. Here's Shannon Grant. We shouldn't be facetious. It's not an easy job. Out to half-back. Stafford. Fraser. And a Roos with him. Look at that. I was going to say, you could see Roos, that thigh so heavily bandaged. It's been his trademark this year. But Chris Mitchell, Brett Allen and Jamie Love, the men in charge tonight.
Minute and a half left in the first term. Somerville gets it down. It's inside 54, Essendon. Little kick by Harvey. Just splits the pack a little bit. Now Harvey's a chance again. He could be run down by Maxfield, but he gets his right foot to it. And an ill-directed kick in the finish under a bit of pressure. Goes over. And a free kick for the Swans in their left back pocket to be taken by their captain, Paul Kelly. It gets very muddy and very slippery down there in that pocket. His kick will get out towards the wing, taken by Berbatov. Handball Denham. Denham just along the boundary line with a slight kick, you'd have to call that, for Landia. He forces it out towards the wing, and it will be thrown in. Centre wing.
You mentioned that Ben Doolan had 8 kicks, so he was actually matched up with Troy Luff for some strange reason on the wing, and now Rodney Eater's removed Luff from the ground, and Dean McRae, which is probably a more logical matchup on the wing, is now on in that position.
Stafford and Somerville missed them, and Danaher was there, along with Dyson. Fraser, well done. Harvey, Roos gets hold of him, the 2-1s. Then Berbakoff getting it from Harvey. Hurd again underneath it. Kelly courageously. Simon's hard at it. Hurd's give good to O'Connor. Chance round the body or behind. So the Bombers have had a few shots, haven't they? At 1-5 to 3 goals. O'Connor, that one just round the body.
That's what most of their shots have been, Bruce, around the body snapshots. They don't really look like marking the ball in the forward part of the ground at this point.
Jim McPherson in trouble. Once he couldn't get away and Simons put the tackle, he was never going to get it past Doolan, and they could suffer. Danaher, the goal scorer, has taken the mark from about 45 metres out, 45-degree angle, so he's going to kick from just inside 50.
See, if you were tipping things, you wouldn't have tipped at quarter time that Chris Danaher could be the only goal kicker for Essendon. If he gets this, he will have 2. And the Bombers just 2.
And he's given it a push away. And Dudley unopposed. McCurry just standing there. Gets it to Grant. Grant to Stafford. And that's the end of the opening term. I think Sydney will be pretty happy with all of that. There's not much in it. But they took the points, I think, Lee, at 3 goals to 1-5.
Well, I think conversion's going to be the name of the game tonight. It's not going to be too easy to set up goals, and Sydney 3 goals from 3 scoring shots and Essendon 1-5 from 6. Really a good quarter for the Swans on conversion and efficiency when they've gone forward.
So James Hurd and Paul Kelly, one of the matchups of the night. 2 goals to Tony Lockett in the opening term. There's young Stephen Carey playing his first match. It's 3 goals to 1-5. We begin the second term on Friday night football at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Sydney lead 3 goals, Essendon 1-5. Stafford went early, Somerville won it cleverly to Denham. On to Masidi, on to full forward. Hurd came charging out, McCurry in the front spot, tried to give it to Harvey Hurd. Dunkley away, then a floater to centre wing. Roos, front position. Reasonable start by Roos tonight. Quickly on to Lockett. Lockett a fair way from goal. He's in the front. Wellman waited, punched away. Carey, little give. Lockett, traps. Handball couldn't quite get to Carey on hands and knees. O'Brien clever. O'Loughlin. And off balance in the end, missing. And out of bounds, right forward pocket. So some good deft working close there by the Swans. But accounting for no score in the end, as Somerville, who's covered a lot of territory here tonight. As Lee said, he's getting back to play across the full back line quite a bit and helping out on Tony Lockett, and he's to bring the ball back in.
And that's in that slippery area in that left back pocket, but he gets the kick out towards the wing. It's still there. McRae overruns it. That could have nearly been deemed as a free kick, but the umpire decided to allow play to go on. Eventually has decided on a ball up on centre wing. No messing around, just throwing it straight in the air. No one really keen to take possession of the football. Pryor gets it to Doolan. Doolan back to Pryor. No space there for Pryor. Dispossessed by O'Loughlin. And O'Loughlin will take the free kick. Quickly moves it on towards centre half forward. Out goes Lockett. Oh, he's crashed 3 players to the ground. They'll know he's around. Back it towards the middle of the ground. Cresswell. Free kick has been picked out and it will come back. Well, it looked as though it may have been for the advantage of the Swans there. And this really is a disadvantage, being brought back to the middle of the ground where Shannon Grant will take the free kick. It's a beautiful kick of the football off that left side in the Lockett direction, and he's just plucked it out of mid-air. Magnificent mark by Lockett. And he's definitely within scoring distance, only about 40 metres, maybe a little closer, and about a 45-degree angle.
I think Peter Berbakoff is his new opponent. I think already Kevin Sheedy, and Berbakoff hasn't got much size about him either. Really, Ryan O'Connor's up in the forward line. He's probably the only player of equivalent size in the Essendon lineup to Lockett.
Well, when they mean business, the Swans, they're a very, very difficult combination to overcome, and it looks as though they're on song tonight. Although they only lead at this stage 3 goals to 1-5, Lockett could just break that out by another 6 points, and you really would back him in here. Such a beautiful kick of the football. Right over the top of it, follows it straight through and splits the centre of the goals. So 3 goals straight to Tony Lockett. And the Swans have a perfect score. They're 4 from 4, Essendon 1-5.
Well, I don't think there's a great deal in the game, really. Probably if you want to take a general play view, Essendon have been a little bit better, but Swans have got Tony Lockett to kick to, and really that was a sort of probably a 60-40 ball maybe that his ability enabled him to sort of take the good strong mark and kick the goal.
From the centre. 4 goals to 1-5. Craig O'Brien on the interchange now. Scott Cummings has come out for Essendon. Lockett with 3 goals. He's kicking very well tonight. Here's Chapman. So Swans with a bit of a chance here. If they could get the next one, they'd start to have a serious lead on a night like tonight. Won't be a heap of goals scored here, you wouldn't think. And now's the time to pinch a break. And they've got McPherson to kick wide to Stafford, who's at 50. Oh, that's confident. Takes Somerville on. Goes across the face. Roos has got it. No, out on the full. He didn't mark it. It was out. Roos kicking it back, but he probably got mixed up with the whistles. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but it was out.
And we mentioned what Peter Somerville was dropping back, and Stafford is pushing in, standing almost right out near the boundary line and half forward to be used as a target as he was then if the Swans players need him.
Wellman short to Denham. He was the man a moment ago, Lee, when they brought it back after the advantage. It had made position again. Denham to Harvey. Harvey keeping it low to centre wing. Oh, that's a good take by O'Connor. He was in a battle with Seymour. None. He really had one arm free. Now centres the ball. Cummings a target with Simons. McPherson, well done. Hurd. Another handball to Cummings. Good to see him back on the ground. He keeps it low. Danaher and Dyson. Dyson pretty happy just to see it roll over and through for yet another behind to Cummings. And it's Essendon 1-6 now. And Sydney 4 goals. So just 2 in it. A couple of goals in it. But it won't be easy to get, as we've said a couple of times. Dyson wide.
Well, low scoring. Anything can happen. Mercedes marked. Only one to judge that. Finished up lobbing right on his chest. And he looks to play on. Hooks the kick a little bit towards the front of the goals. Philandia gets the hand pass away. Grant, left foot kick out to the advantage of the Swans. They've got 2 on 1. O'Loughlin takes from McPherson, or Scarey it was. Now O'Loughlin, left foot kick, pretty good. Oh, misunderstanding there between Derek Kickett and Luff. Luff took the mark in the finish. Kicks back towards the middle of the ground. Taken there by Dyson. Maybe for a fleeting second was going to try and play on.
Peter Ford and Christine Barth from the Seven Sunshine program looking on. And they'll be pleased with Creswell. Peter was a great Aussie Rules fan when he lived in America. And I've met Christine, and she also is a big Sydney supporter. So great to see the 7 personalities out here tonight at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Cresswell in towards full forward. Good kick, good lead. Mark to Lockett.
You feel this is their chance, Lee, to pinch a break, don't you?
Well, they are getting clear. I mean, actually, Berbatov wasn't shifted onto Lockett. It must have just been he tried to help out Wellman in the last marking contest. Wellman's still in. I think coming from the Swans' defence, we saw Shannon Grant help bring the ball out, and I think he's a young player who we're really going to see a lot of in the years ahead. He's a very, very good player. Sets the ball up, and eventually the Swans have tipped it around to Lockett to have the set shot.
Well, Lockett is only 30 metres out. Angle not a problem. It's another goal to the Swans. 4 goals now to Lockett. 1 to Maxfield. The Swans 5 goals lead Essendon 1-6.
Yes, and really we've talked about conversion and just having someone to kick to. Lockett's provided that for the Swans. James Hurd has now come up the field and has gone into the centre square. And really Essendon just don't look like kicking goals at the moment. That's where they're falling down. Their forward line just doesn't look like being able to put the pressure on the Swans.
Lockett with 4 goals. Sydney lead by 3. Hurd into the centre square for that throw up. Fraser comes away. It was interesting. Kelly stayed back across half back when Hurd went forward, and Kelly may get into the action here with McPherson giving it to Kelly. Breaks the first tackle, then got his kick in. Under pressure though, and out of bounds on the full. Some good hassling there by the Essendon forwards to put the pressure on Kelly. Fletcher to take it. So this is the biggest margin of the match. 18 points. Been very accurate, Sydney. Lockett 4 goals. He kicked one out of bounds on the fall early in the first quarter when it was a hard one from a long way out when he was slung, when he kicked the ball. But the set shots have been terrific. Hurd's going to get a free kick.
Gee, that was ordinary.
A little push in the back, the umpire says. Kelly disappointed. Hurd from 60 metres. He's going to go to the goal square. Stafford back. Calthorpe from the side. And Stafford's going to be paid it. Probably just in front of Calthorpe and probably just had it before Calthorpe got a good grip of it. And Stafford gives it up to Philandia. Doesn't really have anyone to go to. May go to Roos. Decides to go long. Wants Kelly or McRae. Doolan stands his ground. McRae gives away a little free kick, which was not good football because it was a 50-50 contest. And he's given it up as Harvey gets it from Doolan. Harvey keeping it low to full forward. And O'Connor just gets rid of Seymour a bit too easily that time and takes the mark. So an important shot here for the Bombers.
I think this is pretty important. O'Connor has to stamp his influence on the game. He's got the player in the Essendon forward line with the real size and bulk against a smaller opponent in Seymour. So he needs to take these few marks to put the scoreboard goal scoring pressure on the Swans.
Kicks from 35, and it's close. It's missed, so that's a real blow. In that first quarter lead, there were a lot around the bodies that missed, and a couple of them you could forgive. And I think on one occasion a Sydney player missed it, but
yeah, the set shots are the ones you have to get when you get them from 30 metres out.
Gee, Simons chased hard as Kelly gave the ball, and Simons might have forced an error. Harvey short to Hurd. A lot of handballs in the opening term, but hasn't had an influence really. Denham back to the goal square. Cummings, good mark. That's a terrific lead.
You know, Bruce, it's a low-scoring game. You feel that the Swans have probably played a little bit better in their forward moves, but in a low-scoring game, just 2 quick goals, and that side that's been trailing, all of a sudden are right back in it.
It's been a very good sign for Essendon. They've taken 2 overhead marks close to goal. I think that's what they needed to do. The rest of the game they're doing okay, but marking the ball in the forward 50, that's where the easy goals are kicked, and now Cummins has his chance.
Surely he'll convert. He's a bit closer than O'Connor, and he does. It's a goal. First goal to Cummings, who left the ground with what looked to be a knee injury in the opening term. And it tightens again at 2-7 to 5 goals.
Yes, it was a good conversion. Really, there's very little in the game. The Bombers just can't afford the Swans to get into their forward 50 too easily, too quickly, because Lockett is looking so dangerous down there. But it's really getting a few goals on the board to put the pressure back on is really their challenge in this part of the game.
Well, Harvey's had a bit of an impact also across the middle of the ground for Essendon. He's had 7 possessions. James Hurd picks it up out of that heavy, muddy area, and a mark has been taken by O'Connor. Now, surely Ryan O'Connor would have a better idea now. He's had 1 kick from not that far away from where he is now. And he does pretty well in the finish. Well, just nonchalantly grabbed it with his right hand.
I think about this point, Rodney Eade would be considering whether he's got a better matchup for O'Connor. He just looks too strong in the body-to-body duels for Seymour. Maybe a Troy Luff or a player of that nature who's currently on interchange.
As O'Connor shoots for goal, Stephen Carey has taken his place on the interchange bench. O'Connor capitalises and gets the Bombers' 3rd goal. So, after it got out to about 18 points for the Swans lead, it's now back to 5 in a very, very tight contest at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Yes, it is, and 5 scoring shots for Sydney to 9 to Essendon, I think is a fair indication of the play. But of course, the scoring accuracy means Sydney have the 6-point lead, but Essendon are travelling along okay.
Cummings and O'Connor being important, and Hurd in that centre a couple of times. Creswell. Hurd holds him up. 3-7 to 5 goals. Lockett with 4 goals for Sydney. Chris Mitchell, Brett Allen and Jamie Love.
Harvey no opponent at centre-half back.
Left hand belt out towards Thompson, who has to concede. Wellman in trouble. He tried to ride a couple. Thompson got rid of it. Wellman went off the ground. Creswell couldn't get over an opponent. Mercedes had it for a long time. Good decision. Play on. Hurd getting a lot of hard balls in the middle to Pryor. Pryor's left foot. A floater to centre-half forward. At the back, McPherson read it pretty well. His handball was not good. Cummings had to go around. Dunkley's hip and shoulder missed Cummings. Cummings back, pushes it out, gives McCurry a chance. McCurry's handball's a beauty. Simons is kicking, they're in front. The Bombers in front. Simon's goal, well done Essendon. 4-7 to 5 goals. Perseverance.
I think so, and I think I'd be getting Paul Kelly back on James Hird wherever he goes on the field. It's okay to pick him up in defence, but for some reason he didn't go into the centre square with him. Essendon's centre square work has been excellent. They've really cleared the ball out of there on the majority of occasions, and I think, in fact, Paul Kelly, you'll find, is in there for this next contest on James Hird.
Yes, right alongside him there. You can see in the foreground, Somerville doing very well in the ruck contest. The ball falls to Dyson. Maxfield is pinned. Away goes Wellman. Can't control it. Very slippery ball now. It spills wide. Oh, gee, was in trouble there was Chris Danaher. Now Mark Thompson. Left foot kick towards the half-forward line. And again, gee, that's a good mark taken by Ryan O'Connor. Handballs it away to Fraser. Fraser, very low. It may go past. No. And the free kick is going to Dunkley against Cummings, and a 50-metre penalty. And that's fairly undisciplined play there by Scott Cummings. He was beaten pointlessly by the Swans defender, and in frustration pushed him in the face or in the chest. Dunkley gets the 50 metres. Handball away. Cresswell's kick towards full forward, anticipating it was Fletcher. He looks as though he may have gone back to Lockett now. Harvey's kick to the wing has been marked by Fraser.
Away, and going to centre the ball to James Hird. Went very early. Kelly at the back. O'Connor having a wonderful turn. Hird attacks from 50. Kicks a beauty to Cowthorpe. And here's another one. What a turnaround.
Well, I don't think it's such a turnaround. I think what Lee said was they've had 118 possessions to 101. 30 marks to 33. I mean, they've been right in it.
The scoreboard is only one indication of the game. Even that's the one that decides the result. We all know that. But I think now that Essendon have got the scoreboard ticking, their good play in midfield is being rewarded on the scoreboard. And James Hird really has been sensational in around the middle of the ground.
Well, the Bombers getting some advantage now from their use of the football. And Somerville has been awarded a free kick from that continuance of play back in the middle of the ground. The handball is away to Bomber Thompson. He looks and then kicks to the half-forward line and finds Hird. Hird, very safe chest mark. He's got into it. Well, they all have. He goes for goal. It's a lovely long kick by James Hird, just touched on the line and through for a behind to Essendon.
In fact, James Hird's had 14 possessions to the 16-minute mark of the second quarter. That is really getting into it.
So the kicking in to be done by Grant once again. In short, finds Dyson.
Was thinking about it to go on and decided no. He's got a couple of options wide. Then decides to go more directly with a floater to the centre wing. Swans needing a goal. Luff. Centering kick. Crawford on the ground. O'Loughlin, Chapman, back to Crawford, back to Creswell. Creswell neat but very wide. Kick there by Arnott, who's also come onto the ground. Lockett in the pocket. It's going to be a heavy and hard ball to mark, and Fletcher with those big arms able to push it to the boundary line and out of play. 8-point margin to Essendon. They trail by 18. There's the change with Seymour and O'Brien sitting it out. O'Brien couldn't get into it in the opening term, though. He didn't have very many chances. So from an 18-point deficit, Essendon now lead by 8. Wellman, tackle on him was good. Now Denham, gee, quick hands there to Fraser, getting a few touches. And oh, terrific mark in the centre by Shannon Grant. Swings the ball wide to Philandia. Now he can go short if he wants. Luff goes back to Grant. Again laterally to McPherson. McPherson eyes off Lockett, I think, but oh, it's a terrible kick. To Somerville. Is O'Brien injured, is he, Russell?
Yes, Bruce. He's got a slight hamstring strain just behind his knee, just at the bottom of the hamstring. So I think he might have had a jab. I'm not too sure whether he's going to come on or not, but he's got it heavily strapped. Very doubtful. Pryor,
thanks for that. They're going to miss him. He kicked 6 last week. And a couple out of the pocket would be handy on a night like tonight. Ruse slung off it. He'll get a free kick at centre half back. The scores at the SCG. Sydney 5 goals without a miss. Essendon 5 goals 8.
Ruse to Philandia. Philandia wide to the wing. And the mark is taken out there by young Simon Arnold. And he looks to kick it quickly into the forward line to give the forwards a chance. Stafford couldn't take the mark. Fights on after the ball hit the ground. So did Chris Danaher to make a contest of it, and the umpire will throw it in the air.
And I think importantly, Mark Harvey's gone back in defence for Essendon. He started on interchange, went to the half-forward line, but in this quarter he's back across defence and pulling his players back and really providing a real solidarity back there.
Stafford gets his hand to it. The ball spills wide. Kick forward by Mercedes. Out towards the wing area. Simon's in front. Taken by Ruse. The little left foot kick is to the advantage of Maxfield, and the ball bounces kindly for him. Off his left foot. He's kicked to the 50-metre line, and a terrific contest provided by Luff. Not able to take it. Fraser gives it, just about basically handed it to Mark Harvey. Harvey's floating kick is close to the line. It's been marked, but at the second grab by Simons, and he was over the boundary line at that stage.
And I mentioned about Mark Harvey. Swans push their players well up the field, so Harvey's allowed to be playing as this floating player across half-back, and really there's no one does that kind of role better than Mark Harvey.
6.5 minutes left in the second term, and Essendon lead by the 8 behinds that they've kicked over and above the Swans. 5-8 to 5 goals for Landia.
Found some space to Dyson. McPherson, he can go laterally again to Ruse. Ruse can attack. He's got to kick it. It's a beautiful kick. It was probably got to him a bit hard in the end. Kick it. A second go. Mercedes onto him. Kick it. Right foot. Brings it back. Whirlman underneath it. Oh, wonderful effort by Creswell off the ground. Crawford goal. Creswell making the contest. I'm pretty sure it was Creswell after Whirlman looked in the box seat, and Sydney back within a couple of points.
But really set up by Derek King at the fantastic ball skills. He dropped the mark. Heavy ball, just too hard, couldn't control it. But just this ground level evasion, just the ability to control the ball, pick it up when he was ready for it and centre the ball. And then, of course, it was just a flurry of hands and feet and eventually a soccer goal, which the Swans desperately needed.
Well, Kelthorpe on the bench being spoken to by the coaching staff. And gee whiz, Joe Mercedes, he didn't chase too hard. Once he had the football, he kicked it away. Kickett went after it. And eventually Derek Kickett forcing the ball to the front of the goal for Justin Crawford to scramble it. So you just have to persevere. Those 1%ers are important. O'Loughlin kicks it forward for the Swans to the half-forward area, taken by Fletcher. Now kick forward for the Swans by Chapman. A scramble there by Mercedes, maybe giving away behind. No, Mark Thompson goes across the goal line, and it's been marked by O'Donnell. Gets the hand pass to Pryor. Pryor is inside the 50-metre area for the Swans. His kick will land on the wing, and a terrific mark taken by Somerville. Looking to play on Barry Young. But Somerville ignores that and kicks in towards half-forward. It was an ill-directed kick in the finish, brilliantly taken by Kelly. Kicks it back towards half-forward. Not taken by the Essendon defence. Fletcher under pressure. That was Thompson who could have nearly taken the mark. Now Young comes in and takes it over for a throw-in. Swans fans not too happy. 4 3/4 minutes left in the second term. Essendon lead by 2 points.
Stafford and Luff there for Sydney. Stafford, good job. Chapman. Pryor. And it's going to be a throw up about 50 metres from goal. Sydney is 6 without a miss. Essendon 5-8. It's been an entertaining first half. Swans going for their 4th in a row, and Essendon have had a couple of losses going into this match. One of the favourites for the flag pre-season, so they must win here to maintain the presence. Whistle went, and then a flurry after that. Denham and Young getting involved with Creswell. Creswell picks himself up. So plenty of time for a goal or two in this first half. Somerville, gets Stafford out of the way. Quick kick by Doolan, only as far as Landia. His kick ill-directed. Thompson's taken it, claimed it, and has got it at half-back. Goes wide to Barry Young and finds him. Good kick. Young away. Has a bit of space. On the left, goes to Hurd, with him Kelly. Hurd, well done, beautifully trapped. Kelly, well done. It was a good contest. Inside, under pressure, Cummings. Back to Hurd, beautifully done. 48 metres out. Hooks it. Misses the lot. Disappointing result in the end, but as Robbo said, he's getting into it all right. He wasn't all that effective early, even though he'd had some touches, but he's had a good second term. 6 kicks, 11 handballs, and having a real impact now on this match. Maxfield will bring her back in.
Well, he's a quality player, isn't he? I mean, to keep him down for a whole game would be a top effort.
I think that you find that Paul Kelly's such a good initiator. Seeing Hurt is just getting so much of the ball anyway. I think Kelly might be better served for the Swans playing as a normal midfielder and letting someone else try and play that checking job on Hurt.
Maxfield's kick goes back towards the half-back area. Kelly, handball over the top. Chapman goes back towards half-back. Dyson forces it forward. Cresswell. Now Maxfield. Good combination of hand passes by the Swans. Maxfield's kick's too high. Just put Lockett underneath it. Harvey, that should have been throwing the ball. You can't do that, Mark. You've been playing long enough now to understand that that is certainly a free kick.
It was such a quick handball. You didn't have a chance to handball it. It actually ended up being a throw.
Well, a critical position on the ground, really, because the player will kick from only about 25 metres out, pretty well straight in front. 3 minutes before half-time, Michael O'Loughlin can wrench back the lead for the Swans. They've got the perfect score so far, not a blemish. O'Loughlin kicks from only 3 paces, makes no mistake, he gets his first goal for the evening. So the Swans 7 goals straight, lead Essendon 5-8 close to half-time.
Well, certainly the Swans' conversion, we've mentioned a few times, but 7 scoring shots for 7 goals. It's just been a fantastic efficiency up there, and regained the lead when Essendon have had all the game's momentum their way.
Cockatoo Collins back on. Four points the difference. Chapman out of the centre. Quick kick around the body to half forward. Arnott and also Thompson. Thompson robbed him cleverly in his 199th game. The former Essendon captain. Out wide, McPherson runs it out with Young, and it'll be a throw-in. Long way from goal for Essendon. They kick 4 consecutive goals in this term to get the lead back from Sydney, and now the Swans have come back with a couple. Roos and O'Connor. O'Connor's had a big second term, lays it off cleverly. Danaher can't get through. Roos goes to ground. Denham out after it. McRae just blocked it. Doolan back to Denham. Denham's high ball to the pocket. Shea Cockatoo Collins. A good attempt there by the youngster, but out of play. It's been on the interchange a bit. Cockatoo Collins now back on.
Yeah, and Essendon using Peter Somerville differently now. They're not dropping him back so much. They're playing him more around midfield, which I think they've decided that Lockett was getting the ball anyway, so you might as well have Somerville up, making sure Stafford's not freeing on his own.
Roos, clever in the end, to McRae. McRae keeps it low to centre wing. There's Somerville in picture. Luff with him, Harvey. Well done by Stafford. He's a promising youngster, isn't he? Goes inside to Chapman, back to Stafford. Good ball skills. The kick low towards Lockett, who's got his man, and that's a pretty good decision. Thompson immediately tried to get rid of it.
And why wouldn't you, when Plugger's bearing down on you?
And it was a great tackle, but no reward there for Lockett except for a ball up 50 metres away. Doolan, well done. McRae was unable to get the right position. Dyson with courage forced Simons to miss it. For Landia, back to McRae, who threw it out actually towards Dyson. Dyson tries to run through, can't get clear. Essendon hold it up. McRae has a go, going to ground. Doolan, handball away, not all that effective. Hard going there at the moment. Back by Simons to Somerville. He's had a good match. So Stafford though back into the centre. Roos playing well. Can't get his kick. Just a little slow in that situation. Cockatoo Collins was onto him, and some good football all round there to force a throw up. Paul Roos, second effort, good, Robbo, and it's 7 goals to 5-8.
Yeah, really takes a desperate contest, and both sides are giving it. In that last 30 seconds of play, really every player put his body on the line when he had to.
Blood rule for Roosie, I think.
Paul Roos, yes.
Gee, I really appreciated his effort then, Lee, because he was outnumbered 3-1, and if the ball had just spilt away from him,
Paul Roos.
Essendon, yes. Essendon were away, weren't they? Well, and he just kept on having a go at that.
Had the chance to kick the ball, got tackled, but then he had to make sure. Sometimes just purely making a contest and drawing a ball up is the maximum you can do, and that's exactly what Roos did on that occasion.
Well, you get a good look there at what forces Roos onto the interchange bench, albeit momentarily. and Seymour back into the fray. So perhaps he'll stay off now until after half-time, because there's less than a minute left in the second quarter. It's kicked forward there by Wellman to within scoring distance for Essendon. It clears the players at full forward. There's a chance here. Cockatoo Collins dispossessed by Grant. And important, it's a kick off the ground by Cummings, I would suggest. A goal to Essendon. Close to half-time. Scott Cummings could be credited with that. So he's kicked 2 goals in this second term. And again, Essendon lead, albeit by just 2 behinds.
Yeah, obviously important goal. They've got their nose back in front again in what is really just a struggle now. I mean, there's a bit of a free-flowingness about the game in the first quarter, but now this ball's got a little bit heavy as the quarter's gone on. It's now just a real struggle to see who can get that little bit of luck with bounce the ball, quick kick forward.
Going to give it to Cummings, Robbo?
I don't know, Bruce. I'd have to have a photo finish of that one. It was very interesting, wasn't it, that second replay of it? But anyway, we'll give it to Cummings at this stage.
Roos has gone down into the rooms with half-time imminent, and he'll be patched up. So that late goal, very handy for Essendon. It just gives them a little edge. Very deep now into this second term. The long break beckoning, and it's 7 goals to 6-8. Strange looking scoreline, isn't it?
Twice as many scoring shots to Essendon.
And just a 2-point margin. So the Swans added 4 goals in that term, but Essendon kicked 5 goals, 3. And I think Lee Cummings and O'Connor gave them something up forward, didn't they, with a bit of marking power. 42-44 as they leave at half-time.
Because that was certainly the difference in that quarter, that the Essendon forwards were able to mark the ball, have a couple of set shots at goal, and really they've been fairly dominant around the midfield part of the ground, as the number of scoring shots suggest. But nevertheless, the games in the balance scores are fairly much equal, of course.
Yep, 7 goals to 6-8 as they leave the ground at half-time. Now, Russell, the situation with the scores, is it 6-7 or 6-8, Essendon?
It's 6-7, Bruce, because I think there was a point given by the goal umpire, but it wasn't given all clear by the field umpire, so then it was given back a free kick. So it is now 6-7 officially by the goal umpires.
Important, thanks for that.
Okay.
Thanks very much. So the official score, there's only a point the difference. It's 6-7 Essendon to 7 goals Sydney. And when it's tight like this, every point counts for quite a bit as we start the second half of Friday night football. And Essendon going to the left of screen. It's been a very good game of football in difficult conditions. Just looking to see if, Paul Roos is back, Lee. I was looking for him, he's in defence. Had a little nick under the eye. Look at Kickett and Hurd. Chapman, McRae, who hasn't really been able to get much of a handle on it. Harvey's been good around the body. Falandia, courageous, kept his eye on it, then bangs it as far as he can to centre wing. Oh, good take. It's a very good take. A surprising mark, really, in front of Thompson. He's had 11 kicks to half-time. O'Loughlin, good mover, O'Loughlin. He had a stunning debut on this ground last season. Kicked 4 goals and looked the goods, and he's a most accomplished play. Kicked to centre half forward. Maxfield didn't really look, banged it away. Lockett at the back, had a bit of carry the ball over the back. Harvey, Lockett to put the pressure on Harvey to the boundary line, finds it out of play in the right back pocket for Essendon. Maxfield missing everyone there, but under pressure. But in that second term, he had a wonderful chance to hit Lockett lace out and missed him completely. He's just blazed a bit tonight. Kick it. Well done. Couldn't quite get his boot to it. Denham was with him. Kick it again. And still nobody able to get through. We're going to see a fair bit of this, I think, in the second half, as we did in the opening half of this match. So just repeating the fact, there's just a point the difference. It's 6-7 the Bombers, and Sydney 7 goals.
Well, Kickett might have been able to get away if he hadn't been covered in mud. This is Wellman. Bumped off the football. Important too. Cresswell kicks it to the goal square. Lockett behind. Couldn't take the mark. Fletcher. Now this is Fraser for Essendon. He runs away from the back pocket. Kicks out close to the line. And a good contest here between Doolan and McRae. Doolan appealing for a free kick, but not forthcoming. The boundary umpire will throw it in at right half forward for the Swans. It's about 65, maybe 75 metres from their goal. And the ruckman to contest this. It comes down to Pryor. He's able to run away from the half-back line. Kicks it towards half-forward. It bounces into vacant ground down there. And Paul Kelly, just frustratingly, it slips through his hands and over for a throw-in. Don't often see that. Mishandling by the Brownlow medalist Paul Kelly, and at the start of the third term, manning up on James Hird as he did early in the game. Ruck contest, the ball spills to the front. Kelly kick down towards the wing, and another very good take by Arnott. Swans fans appealing for a 50-metre penalty, but umpire having nothing to do with that.
Centering kick. Is that a free kick for Luff? Not paid. O'Donnell. He's had a fairly quiet night. Denham to Danaher, who kicked the first goal for Essendon tonight. Hird's in a good position. Well done, Kelly at the back. Hird, can he get it over to Cummings? Dunkley went off the ground. Still hasn't got it to the boundary. Hird, good pick up, quick kick. He saw Cummings, found him. It was good play. He knew exactly where everybody was on the ground at that moment, James Hird.
I think Scott Cummings must have super glue on his hands. That was a fantastic slips catch. I mean, a great play by Hird. The second effort to keep his feet and go after the ball again, but really a great diving catch by Cummings.
He's kicked a couple. Kicked 6 in the opening match and got reported and suspended, and came back and kicked 4 in his second match. His strike rate's very good. He was the leading goal kicker at the club a couple of years ago. Kicked 8 against Sydney on debut at the Melbourne Cricket Ground in 1994. He does look to be the full forward that Essendon has been searching for a couple of seasons. And that's not a bad kick from there by Cummings, just missing. So 2 goals, 2 to Cummings, and now it is 6 goals, 8 to 7 goals. That's official.
Grant to kick it in for the Swans. Early in the third term, goes in short to centre half back, and the mark is taken by Dyson. Looking to move it quickly, not able to do so. Now he goes short again. A little bit too short. Dunkley able to gather. Give the handball back to Dyson, who runs away from centre half back. He'll kick and land the ball at half forward. Maybe a little fortunate there. That kick wobbling in the breeze, lands with Luff. His kick across the half forward line, taken by Stafford. That kick towards full forward is very poorly directed, and the mark taken by Fletcher. That may have been Carey, was it? The kick down into the forward line. Fletcher with the football in the left back pocket for Essendon. His kick will land well outside 50 metres, so the Bombers out of trouble at the moment. Roos, Chris Danaher, Chapman gives away a little bit of ground, back to Luff. Luff wide, Roos has the football, and he's ducked after he kicked the ball by O'Connor, but the umpire sees that as all legitimate. The mark is taken by Doolan. He runs away from the full-back area, kicks in towards the middle of the ground. Past Grant, spills for Cockatoo Collins, gives away ground. Pryor with the football, sums it up and then thumps it towards half forward in the Simons direction. The ball spills to the back, kick forward by Young. 1-on-1, Dunkley attacks it hard, so does Simons, off the ground by Cummings. Do it again, son. No, he can't. Some desperate play provided by the Swans defender Andrew Dunkley. Forces it over for a boundary throw in left forward pocket for Essendon.
So the second half continuing from where the first half left us. Some desperate play, left, right and centre here. O'Connor just got rid of Roos with strength. Back to Simons. Had it for a while, ricocheted off Roos. Back to Dunkley, never got a handle on it. Back to O'Connor. O'Connor to Fraser. Fraser to Young. Young won't make the distance. It's in the goal square. Oh, robbed beautifully by Grant. I thought Cockatoo Collins was in the box seat. Hird running back. William O'Loughlin. Hird, wonderful. What a great mark it was. He's quickly becoming the most influential player out there tonight. Not forgetting Lockett's kick 4 at the other end. McRae missed it. Stafford through his fingers. Cockatoo Collins looking for a free kick. Chapman's got to get rid of it. They take it away. Danaher, McRae hassled him well. Back to Danaher. Oh, well done. He feinted a handball. Might kick a goal, Danaher. It's close. It's at the post. It drifted at the last moment. It was going through and it rattled the post, and Essendon now 6-9 to 7 goals.
We'll see if Shannon Grant kicks it to Kevin Dyson again. They've done the old 1-2 a fair few times today. We'll just see whether that eventuates again.
Well, Grant is the elected kicker, and he goes into the back pocket. The mark is taken by McPherson. He looks to play on, gets past Cockatoo Collins, and then kicks it out towards the wing. A high fly by Arnott, couldn't take the mark. Thompson gets past, Doolan, he's having an impact. Probably Essendon's best player statistically anyway. But that mark there has been taken by Dunkley at full back. Looks to play on. Player on his own. On the wing is Carey. Gets the hand pass to Philandia. Philandia's got a player at centre-half forward. It's a poor kick again. When I say a poor kick, it's just poorly directed. He didn't have a lot of pressure on him and kicked it straight to Harvey. Harvey goes wide to Fletcher. Fletcher outside 50. This is a better kick. And it finds Wellman. Wellman looking to play on. Gives the hand pass into Masidi, who's been a quiet player. Masidi goes for goal. A long kick by Joe Masidi across the face and through for a behind to the Bombers. So Essendon start the third term scoring 3 behind. Sydney yet to add to their total from half-time. Essendon lead by 4 points.
It's a continuation of the same game. Essendon doing all the scoring, but just not being able to get the 6-pointers through.
16 shots to 7. Danaher's big fly. McRae brought to ground. Doolan again to Hurd. Hurd whips out the handball in the Cockatoo Collins direction, in the pocket. Kelly's hip and shoulder good, out of play. About 45 metres from goal. It's a quiet night, Cockatoo Collins. Just 1 kick and 3 handballs. He's a goal-scoring forward. Did well in the Anzac Day clash against Collingwood in that goal-kicking role. O'Connor's been good, takes it out of the air, back to Hurd again. Hurd to fall forward. Simon's the only man to go. It's just got too much height for Philandia and too much spring, and Philandia stayed down. And Mercury coming on.
He does that very well, Simon's the third man up jumping player, sort of at the mark. Philandia, of course, more small back pocket player, and Simon's ability to mark the ball is always going to make him vulnerable. It hasn't really worked out that way tonight just yet, but that was just one occasion where Simon's ability to leap into the mark, and Philandia stayed down, didn't go 4th up, which you have to do if your opponent goes 3rd up. So Simon just got what looks like an easy shot for goal.
And Cummingsley did a pretty good job on Dunkley there, just to
hold him down.
Yep. So Simon's not the most reliable kick, but this looks a sitter, and he bangs it through. So the Bombers have started the second half well. That's Simon's second goal tonight. He kicked 1 in the second term, and Essendon, with 10 more scoring shots, lead by 10 points. They have the minimum return, so to speak.
Well, really, the Swans are going to have to turn this game around. All the momentum of the game is with Essendon, even though they're only 10 points in front. But they're just getting doing all the scoring. Mark Harvey floating across that half-back line's rooting the play so wonderfully well. And they're just getting so much the ball out of the midfield.
The umpire just throws it in the air to restart play. Somerville gets his hand on it again. Kick it. Brilliantly dispossessed by Hurd. Made a terrific contest of it. Fraser on McRae was good as well. And the Bombers, when they looked as though the Swans may have got away from that centre bounce, have locked it up in their forward half. Cockatoo Collins having another spell on the bench for the Bombers. It's just outside Essendon's 50-metre line. Hurd, a lovely hand pass into the path there of Masidi. He gets it away to Doolan. Doolan goes in and kicks the Bombers' goal. So some electrifying football from Essendon from the centre bounce. 8-10, they lead Sydney 7 goals, and that is the largest margin in favour of Essendon this evening. The Swans led by 18 points in the second term, but this is terrific football.
Really, as I said, all the momentum is with Essendon. Really, the Swans just have to start winning the ball out of the midfield. They're just doing too well. Doolan been a very good player, 19 possessions at this point, but really James Hurd in that role is going into the centre square, then drifting into the forward line. He's just 20-odd possessions, been a fantastic player.
8-10 to 7 goals. Somerville, Sydney needing one now against the flow. Dyson pushes it out. Danaher. It's hard to get clean possession here. It'll be a slippery footy in that patch for a while. Hurd now goes back to centre half forward. Kelly follows him. So Rodney needs persisting, but Hurd is just growing and growing and growing in this match. He's had 9 kicks and 13 handballs, and he's won so many of the 50-50 balls since quarter time. Stafford. Doolan has had 19 possessions. He's relishing playing against a club that he was once with.
Importantly, I think you have to do the scoring in the early part of the quarter. As the ball gets in the centre square and gets wet and heavy, it becomes much harder to handle as the quarters go on.
Somerville. McRae, who came on the ground after Doolan had stick Slough up early, to centre half forward. Lockett underneath it. Harvey getting back. He's just played the sweeping role very well. He had a wild. Fletcher, little give was good. Over the top by Wellman was okay. Back to Harvey. That's out on the full. But he has just played as a sort of the man at the back, reading the ball well, Harvey. Chipping away. He's had 12 kicks and 1 handball. He's quite a remarkable player, Harvey. His longevity and the fact that he's been able to come back from injury and his courage has made him a bit of a legend. McRae, that was quite clever. Kick to the pocket. Carey over the back. Good chance for Creswell. Denham kept his hands off. Pressured him. Forced it out in the pocket.
As you mentioned, Harvey, Marco reads the play so wonderfully well. He gives his opponent a little bit of space because he just backs his ability to read the ball, and he's just doing it so well tonight. Sydney need a goal. Somerville and Stafford. Somerville did well. Got to the front. Down to Mercedes. Couldn't get it away. Kicker was in there. Well done to Arnott. Arnott's left foot finds Lockett.
Play on's been called.
Left foot, he'll kick it. He's kicked his 5th. Well, he's a remarkable player, and instinctively he's always been good, and he read that, and he understood that the umpire called play on, and he was quick to react.
Well, he was, yes. I mean, the umpire didn't say the ball went far enough for a mark, but as everybody really looked at the umpire to confirm what was going on, Lockett really was the first player to really pick up the fact that it wasn't a mark. Fletcher was ready to stand the mark, as was Wellman, and then really a good left shot over his right shoulder. Swans desperately needed that.
Gee, off the unnatural side, wasn't Lockett skillful there? Essendon go forward. Young gathers. James Hird shrugs the tackle and then gets the kick towards full forward, and the mark is taken by Simon, so Essendon can quickly answer. Seymour is onto the ground for the Swans, but gee, James Hird, he doesn't need much space to get a kick out, does he?
And I think really it's been vulnerable all night, but now that Symes has taken these couple of marks, I'm pretty sure Rodney Eade will probably have to try and find a slightly taller defender than Philandia to play on Symes, who is a very good mark for a player of his size.
I think the move's being made now as you speak, Lee.
I'd just like to see him take a few more strides back, Bruce. I don't think that run-up's long enough, is it? He's nearly back near the middle of the ground, Michael Simons.
He's quite an eccentric player, I think, all round, don't you?
Well, I like the look of it with the shorter hair. I think that certainly makes him look more like a footballer. This is well, it's an ordinary kick. The Swans fans behind the goals there, they thought it was terrific. But he missed badly in the finish. He's kicked 2 goals, 1. And Essendon continue to pile up the behinds, 8-11. And the Swans 8 straight. Troy Luff and Craig O'Brien.
An interesting something we see on the kick-ins as Kevin Dyson waits for the ball to come back. All the Essendon defenders have basically left their men. Tony Lockett and I think it's Stephen Carey are alone in the forward 50 for the Swans. It's basically a zoning situation. Every Essendon player is coming up to zone up in basically that 2/3 of the ground.
So Lee's painted the picture, the scene that for Dyson, and he's going to go long and kick in the Dunkley direction, who was outnumbered. O'Connor in the front. His game's been full of merit. Well done. Dunkley fed it off. McPherson under pressure. There's a good tackle by Danaher. Kelly couldn't quite. Back to Dunkley. Can use kick it. He still hasn't. Now he does. Put kick it on his best side. Lovely kick inboard. Chapman away on the left. Oh, beautiful kick to Lockett. Wonderful football, Sydney. And this is their chance, Lee, to make another run, isn't it? With Lockett from about 35 metres out on a tightish angle.
Well, it's a low-scoring game, but you'd really think that Lockett's going to have to kick 8 goals or 8 or 9 goals for the Swans to win, because he really is the only finisher that they look like having. But had that situation, as we explained, tried to explain there, Fletcher was a long way from Lockett, and he couldn't quite readjust when Swans were able to hold possession from the full-back position.
Well, he has kicked magnificently tonight, Lockett. Pushed that one just a little to the side and missed, not by a lot, but he has used it well at that end. He's kicked to the left-hand goalpost generally and brought it back slightly, but not there. So Sydney has kicked a behind for the first time tonight. Lockett's got 5-1 out of 8-1. That says a lot for his contribution, and I think is a reasonable reflection on what we've seen tonight. But it's a tight game here. 10 points. Remember Essendon, the article in The Age, after they blew that lead against Collingwood on Anzac Day. They'd had some good leads over the years and given them up. And this is one they can't afford to tonight. Doolan's been great. gives it to Somerville, to Fraser, to Danaher.
Yeah, that combination by Essendon was very good, and the kick to a full forward has been marked by Cummings. And the Swans really didn't touch the football from the kick in. It was a magnificent kick by Pryor that set it up. Bombers will effect a change as Cummings prepares to kick for goal. Calthorpe was back on the ground at the expense of Barry Young. But Cummings really must capitalise here. 7 3/4 minutes left in the third term. And an advantage of, say, around about 3 goals at 3/4 time would make the job for the Swans a difficult one to get over the Essendon team tonight. Cummings from 35 metres. It's pretty close. It's a line ball. And he's missed. Cummings, to his dismay now, has 2 goals, 3 against his name. 8-12 to 8-1. So the set shots that a few of their players have missed certainly could prove costly for Essendon.
Philandia to bring the ball back in, so they're mixing up the designated kicker. I guess you could say they don't have one right now. Kicker got it. Punches it to O'Loughlin, just too far. There are Sydney players with a chance. Carey, the handball went straight to Masidi. Back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell to Harvey. Played quite passively tonight, O'Donnell, just across halfback. Harvey clever to Doolan. It's been a bit of the difference at the moment in the field kicking. Essendon's better than Sydney's. Doolan kicks to full forward. Somerville's got the drop. He loves this situation. Calthorpe couldn't quite do it. Philandia. Ruse got a push in the back. No free kick. Cummings in at him and Hurd, and it'll be a ball up. 8 goals, 12 Essendon. Sydney 8-1. I reckon they've had 5 shots for goal Essendon tonight from about 35 metres and even closer and missed them. Well, he did fall a bit too rosy and maybe had the chance to get the ball, but Cummings seemed to be a bit in his back, but fair enough. Philandia. Well done, Kelly. After O'Connor interfered, Kelly's kick to O'Loughlin. That's a good stretch. O'Donnell's got the job on him. O'Loughlin just looking around. Goes wide. Shannon Grant the target. He's drifted forward. Thompson, he might be able to get around the bomber. Well done. Looks for free. He's got it. Gee, he played for it. It was a big play because by playing for it, he gave up the ball, and Essendon were going to be away. Now, this man is a good kick. And Lockett's in the goals, and he hasn't got it far enough, and Fletcher took the mark.
Well done, Dustin Fletcher.
Yeah, he tacked it hard, didn't he? He used his pace up in front of Lockett. He hasn't been on him for all the night, but Wellman early was beaten. Now Dyson. Back inside Seymour. Back to Dyson. Good setup to Maxfield. Goes back to Seymour. They worked it pretty well. Nice little chip away. That's okay. Creswell at about 60. Lockett wants it in the pocket long. Creswell's going to kick it. It's one out. Lockett to Fletcher. They're getting back Harvey. O'Loughlin tried to rob it. Couldn't quite. Essendon with numbers. They kept their heads, and Harvey kicks it beautifully to Calthorpe. He can go away and take McRae on. Goes inboard to his lookalike Doolan. Doolan back inside. Masiti. They can set it up now. Hurd the target. Kelly with him.
Now the ball spills to the back. It just completely misses Simons. Now the little tap onto the favour of Ruse. Out in front of Maxfield. It'll come rebounding back just as quickly as it went down the ground. Maxfield's kick to the pocket is a beauty and hits Proctor on the chest. He's 35 metres from goal, but deep in the pocket. So a difficult shot confronting Tony Lockett. Magnificent kick by Maxfield on this occasion. Lockett runs around and his kick will float across the face. Oh, it's a mark to the Swans. Taken by Carey. Well, the angle is going to be a difficult one. And Stephen Carey, an inexperienced player for the Swans, with his first kick, could kick a very important goal in this game. Gee, it looks pretty good from behind, is it? It's a behind. So he just laid it across his boot, but that check side punt kick didn't quite work. And registers the Swans' second behind of the evening. Michael Pryor to kick in. And with 4.5 minutes left, Essendon still have a slight advantage.
His last kick in was very effective, Pryor. He looks for Somerville. McRae late, did well to Grant. Grant goes away, hooks, misses. So Sydney, ironically, their inaccuracy is costing them after they kicked 8 consecutive goals. They've kicked 3 points in a row. 8-3 to 8-12. It's a tight game. Sydney hoping to win their 4th consecutive match. Pryor wide, Thompson used his boot to fend off Grant, runs out of play and the ball went with him. Doolan charges away and it's going to come back. His mannerisms are like Calthorpe's at times, Doolan, and vice versa. Carey at the back, Wellman. Crawford tried, couldn't. Thompson, a wobbler to centre wing. McCurry's had a quiet night. Here's Calthorpe fending off, charging away, kicking the ball wide, and Seymour in the front spot, that taller man on Simons. After Lee had told us the problems that Philandia was having, that's a good kick to Carey, and he's done all right. Carey hasn't had a lot of possessions, but he's done a bit in his first game. Pushes inside to Creswell, so Sydney getting a bit of the football late in this 3rd quarter. Creswell attacks to full forward. Lockett can't get into position, and good mark to Joe Masidi, with Somerville bearing down his teammate. And Masidi with Fletcher wide, and he's going to push it out, and now this is how Essendon have set it up a few times tonight.
Fletcher's in the left back pocket. Minding the mark there is Crawford. So Fletcher just holding up play, no one really to kick to. Now he goes long in the direction of the wing, and the mark is taken by Wellman. He did pretty well in the finish. He was just in a slightly inferior position to his Swans opponent, but took the mark. His kick goes in towards centre half forward. Oh, top mark. Absolute top mark taken by Hurd. It's been a terrific contest, but James Hurd, well, he's taken the point so far. His kick across the half forward line, leave it, the bloke at the back. Yes, it's a mark to Essendon. Cummings. Well, Cummings, if Essendon are to win this game, you would think that Scott Cummings just has to start converting these chances.
Thompson coming off Robbo and Cockatoo Collins on.
So Cummings is kicking from about 40 metres. The angle, not his greatest difficulty. Swirling breeze prevailing here at the Sydney Cricket Ground has made it a little bit difficult for players to judge. But he's a good kick of the football. And he thumps it towards goal. It looks pretty good. It's a goal to Cummings. So Cummings kicks his 3rd goal. He's had 6 scoring shots. 3-3 out of 9 goals, 12. Essendon by 15 points, close to 3-quarter time.
It's been a fairly good performance by Cummings. Dunkley's been in fantastic form of recent weeks for the Swans, and he's at least provided a target, kicked 3 goals, missed another couple, and has led for the ball and looked pretty safe when the ball's delivered out in front of him. He's been pretty good.
Out of the centre, Pryor, Hurd after it, gets it at 48, goes for goal, and a push and a behind. So Hurd getting yet another possession. He's had 25 or 26 possessions tonight. 9-13 to 8-3, so the margin 14 points. Sydney led by 18 points in the 2nd quarter. Philandia, he's got to make this pay. Late goal to Sydney would just tighten things up. It's about the margin they were behind Richmond, remember, a couple of weeks ago at Waverley Park. Here's Masidi off hands, getting a few touches in this term. Crawford underneath it, took the mark. He's been on the interchange for a fair bit of the night. Comes away, brings it out very wide, looking for Arnott, and he makes it. He's taken a couple of lovely marks tonight, Arnott. Sheedy on the bench there, coming down just before 3-quarter time. Arnott's kicked the centre wing. Carey, oh, good take. He's starting to blossom a bit, this young fellow. Played a couple of years in the reserves. That's a lovely mark. Good take there. On to Grant, good mark. Grant quickly on. In his hurry, he wanted to get it to Lockett. Fletcher punches it to the boundary. He'll be very happy to see that go out of play. And the delivery to Lockett, Lee, tonight. Your impressions?
Oh, well, it's just been fair. I mean, that was a sloppy kick, but every Essendon defender's leaving his opponent whenever possible and just going towards Lockett, because he's the 100% forward target every time the Swans go to that part of the ground.
Creswell tries to get it to kick it. Couldn't quite. Then came and butted up again, and Doolan with him. And it'll be another throw up, about 50 metres. Sydney attacking, but trailing. Needing a goal to tighten things up at 3-quarter time. It's been a good turn for the Bombers.
I think Fletcher's done better on Lockett because he's been getting the front position and really been making sure that Lockett is not able to lead up the field away from him too often.
Dyson, quick hands. Maxfield had to concede ground. McRae, does he get a good bounce? No, he couldn't quite take hold of it. Important here. Simon, Seymour gave it up to Doolan's had a great game. Fraser's hands were quick. He knew the man was coming. Simon's out wide to Cowthorpe. Now Hurd's the man. Go to Jimmy with a long handball. He does. Let's see if he can finish it off. He will to Mercury. He'll kick a goal. He does.
The way they kept running then to create that target all the time, all the way up the ground.
Well, once they got clear off halfback, I mean, the initial Swans kick that basically lost about 10 metres off halfback, and Dean McRae was running away from goal trying to take control of the slippery ball. And once the Essendon players were able to get their hands on the ball in that contest, all their players were flowing forward and they created the loose man down the field, and a good exchange of handballs for Mercury to do the finishing. But really a 22-point lead is a big margin in the context of the way the game's been going.
And the other thing that James Hurd did, I mean, instead of blasting away, I mean, probably 70% of guys would just throw it on their boot, but he saw Mercury and...
He's special, isn't he?
Yep.
8-3, 10-13, so a little bit lopsided now. It's a pretty good lead. And there's a siren for three-quarter time. So the Swans stalling a bit. They kicked 1-3 in that term to 4-6 by the Bombers. And 22 points in the context of what we've seen tonight is a major break, Lee Matthews.
It is, yes. That has been a good performance by us. And I think they're suited by the slightly sort of sloppy conditions. I think they're more suited to it than the Swans are, in my opinion. Got a lot of players that are able to handle a greasy ball quite well, and I suppose James Hurd's an example of that, but a few of their others. And really, it's basically 2 goals, 10 behinds lead, and really that's probably now indicative of how well Essendon have played.
8-3 to 10-13 at three-quarter time. We begin the final term. Friday night football at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Essendon getting away in the third quarter with a handy break. They lead by 2-10. Cowthorpe gets it from Pryor to Doolan, who's had a superb game. Cummings takes it well, ridden to the ground by Dunkley, but fairly. McRae away. Very few possessions. He did a fair job on Doolan when he first came on, but Doolan cut him in the third. And Harvey's got it at centre wing. Played well. Hurd in the front. Still Kelly with him. He has persisted, Rodney Eade. Kelly trying to barge through.
Peter Philandia, Michael Simons, a marking player, shifted off him onto Mark Mercury, who's another very good medium-sized marking player. So interesting to see how that contest goes this quarter.
Essendon may have the balance of power by the look of it. Mercury. Fraser went to ground, then missed Young. McRae went to ground. Somerville's been good. Back to Young. Young to Pryor. Pryor away from the goal. Tries to hook it back. Does. Reasonable effort. Hurd went early. Gave a free kick away. Kelly to take it. At half back.
He took the mark, didn't he?
Kelly, did he?
I think Hurd took it to the ground.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
We'll have another look at this, Bruce. He took the mark.
It's a good effort, wasn't it?
Oh, top effort.
Ruse wide. His target, Carey. Wellman seemed to get hold of him a bit. Somerville back. Carey got his boot in the way. Wellman and Carey after it. A hip and shoulder. Good effort by both. Then they try to get the ball out. Leg. Shannon Grant will get a free kick. He's got kick it on if he can get up in a hurry. Doesn't. Sydney have got to take advantage of every forward thrust, you'd feel.
I think Cockatoo Collins are professional if there's such a thing now. Free kick. A kick in towards half forward. It spills now. Maybe Denham a chance. Somehow scrambles the ball out to Barry Young. Then O'Donnell. O'Donnell just directing traffic from half back. Pryor has taken the mark. Looks to get back onto his favoured right foot. And then just chips it in short. And the mark is taken by Mercury. Mercury has been a little quiet. Only 5 possession. Runs around. Kicks across his left shoulder. In towards full forward. Cummings from behind. In front was McPherson. Cummings gets rid of that player. O'Connor provides the tackle on Dunkley, but Dunkley goes after it again. Gathers and then hacks it down towards the wing. It bounces in open territory. Back goes O'Donnell. He's quite prepared to allow the ball to go over. Swans fans appealing for a free kick deliberate as O'Loughlin comes off the ground and Chapman goes back into the fray. But the boundary umpire will throw it in just forward of centre wing in the Swans attacking half. Somerville gets his right hand to it. Crawford kicks it forward for the Swans to the 50-metre line. Punched away. Very well done by Cockatoo Collins. Pryor dispossessed. It falls down to Shannon Grant. Grant goes in towards full forward. Good unselfish play. He could have blasted away, but he put it onto the chest of Lockett, and Lockett a chance to get his 6th goal. Good play by Grant. And I'm sure the Burley full forward would have been licking his chops when he led out there. He'll kick from only 25 metres. And again, you would suggest that he could overcome the slight angle that he's on. Maybe to give the Swans a glimmer of a hope. Beautiful kick. Is a goal. 6 to Lockett. So the Swans pull back the margin to 16 points, 73 Essendon, lead Sydney 57.
Well, that really was a critical goal to sort of get them back within striking distance. Goals have been very hard to get for the Swans. A 3-goal deficit is something that's going to be difficult to make up. But very good play by Shannon Grant. He's been an excellent player all night.
Seymour to McRae. So Sydney getting back within some sort of touch. Hurd, another possession. Blazed away a bit. O'Connor front spot. Good stretch by him. Then tries the handball. Now Mercury. He kicked that late goal in the 3rd quarter. Brings it back to full forward. Dunkley, Cowthorpe, Fraser. Now Dunkley swishes it out towards the back pocket. Chasing hard Crawford. They're 21 points behind Richmond, Sydney at Waverley that day when they got up and won in that thriller. And they trailed here by 22. So that's got to give them heartily, the fact that they've been in this position only a fortnight ago and able to get back against a quality team. So they won't be completely out of this from their reckoning. Next goal now starts to become a critical one. Mercury to Somerville. That's a good kick by the big fellow. They've got the numbers. Oh, Cummings, well done. He's been a bit too good for Dunkley, and we haven't said that too many times this year.
No, he has. He's just outmarked Dunkley 3 or 4 times in those one-on-one comps. Just a little bit too tall. He's used his body to sort of push into Dunkley and then maintain his height to take the ball to its highest point, and done that extremely well.
Gee, you'd love to work out how the umpires create these angles, though. Huh?
Well, it's from the centre of the goals, the direct centre between the 2 goalposts, and it's a direct angle to the man on the mark. It's as simple as that, even though it does look a bit silly sometimes.
I think you're being kindly.
No, well, that's the actual rule.
Oh, no, fair enough, I understand that.
And that's exactly what he's done.
Well, he's kicked 3-3 Cummings. He's improving the angle just a touch. Oh. Well, they're still in the box seat, but if they happen to lose tonight, they've had half a dozen shots, Essendon, that have been pretty much gimmies, haven't they?
The funny kicks, though, is if he's on the other side of the ground, so he's got that natural sort of slide hook in the kick, it's an easy shot for goal, but you get a bit scared of that right-hand goalpost from that angle, and he's completely mistimed the kick.
So you wouldn't have given him too many out of 10 for it, though, would you? The kick in.
Absolutely.
Still Essendon a chance. Denham. Kick forward by Mercedes. At half forward, Essendon mark taken by Barry Young.
And that was the zoning situation where the Essendon players in their zone positions defending the kick-off, and once Essendon got the first possession out on the half-forward flank here, then it was a question of the Essendon players basically queuing up who was going to mark it.
Well, Barry Young, who is probably not blessed with accuracy as far as his goal kicking is concerned. He's shooting from 40 metres directly in front. The kick comes back with the breeze, and it is an Essendon goal, kicked by Young. Young has kicked his first goal, and it's back out to 23 points. 80 plays, 57, and we've got 15 minutes left in the game.
Really, I think the Swans have been badly beaten around the packs tonight. Basically, the Essendon players have been ferreting in and getting the ball out, the Denhams and Mercedes, and just all of them have just been doing their little bit, and that's been sufficient to keep driving the ball forward.
Chapman out of the centre. High ball, going to be difficult to mark. Arnott, well done. He's shown some promise. Was going to go on, now pushes wide in the direction of Kelly. You feel that he's going to have to go forward in a hurry in this last turn to give Sydney a chance. Lockett marks, a long way from goal. Not impossible that he could kick this, but it's a really difficult shot from that pocket. from this other side would have a better chance, but this would be an outstanding kick. He's kicked 6 tonight. He's been their lone forward, really. 6 out of 9. It's been a very significant and worthwhile contribution by the big fellow. There's his kick. It's close. He's hit the post. Geez, a good kick from there. Unlucky.
Very hard to win games with one forward, even if that forward's as good as Tony Lockett, and that's really been Sydney's problem tonight. Lockett's kick is 5 or 6, but just haven't been able to have anyone else to get amongst the goal scoring.
Well, you said, Lee, that he probably had to kick about 8, and that was in the second term for them to win. Kelly waits. Back to McRae. McRae's handball inboard. There's 3 Swans there. Chapman took a while, puts Creswell under the hammer, and this is a big turnover now. This could really sting.
Some very, very fierce and quick tackling by Essendon, and the ball spills in towards half forward. Now the chances with Hurd. He goes straight into an open goal, James Hurd, and he does make the Swans pay. He's kicked the goal. Well, it's his only goal so far in the match, but by gee, he's been a sound contributor. 14 kicks, 14 hand passes, and 5 marks plus that goal.
Well, importantly, he's the player who laid the final tackle, dispossessed the Swans on the half-back line. And then he's just, as he does, just run on for the second effort, come down the middle of the centre corridor, and there's basically the ball came via the outer wing back to that position, and a great finish and a great goal.
Well, now it's out to 28 points in favour of the Bombers. And they're a chance to go forward once again here. Pryor ducks back, gets it to Simons. Simons in turn to Young. Young quickly onto his right foot. The ball just holding up in the breeze. Fraser to O'Connor. Well, I don't quite know whether he had a go at it, but eventually the Swans defenders force it over for a boundary throw in. Perhaps Ryan O'Connor maybe a little bit off balance there and couldn't get his kick away. Essendon 28 points in front, 13 minutes left in the game. Paul Roos directing traffic across that full back line for the Swans. It looks a forlorn task now for Sydney. It hasn't been a very high-scoring game by any means. Pryor throws it onto his right foot and misses everything. So the free kick for Sydney to be taken in their left back pocket by their defender Brad Seymour. David Kelthorpe on the mark, and Dean McRae having a spell on the interchange bench.
Seymour, who turned 20 today, kick to half back. Good fly, Somerville, lovely mark, played well. Yeah, very well. A lot of grabs and 7 marks. And did a good job early defending when Sydney went forward towards Lockett. Simons the target. At the back was McPherson. Or Dunkley. He put on a good show.
Umpire did not see that. No. I was watching the umpire. It was a logical assumption, however, when Dunkley went to the ground like that. But I'm not sure whether umpires should second guess if they don't see exactly what happens.
Philandia kick to Luff. Luff to Derrick, kick it. Barry Young onto him. Kick it, wanting some room. Then comes wide to McPherson. McPherson with some space. Must deliver accurately. Just chips to Roos. Gets him in the centre. Every thrust forward for Sydney has got to be fruitful now, you would think. They'd have to score every time they go forward. And now Roos kicks towards Lockett. Not a bad kick, gives him a chance. Couldn't quite get a handle on it, though, Lockett. And O'Donnell. He's played percentages all night, actually, O'Donnell. Hasn't done a lot. But just
they've got all their experience in defence. O'Donnell, Thompson early is off the ground now, and Harvey, when those 3 players, they might be a little slow as a group, but they've certainly got the know-how to control things.
Prior to O'Donnell, O'Donnell's lovely kick finds Mercury.
Mercury is not quite down to the wing. One bounce, looking to give the hand pass away. Well, he nearly stopped there. O'Donnell, not a bad kick, finds Cockatoo Collins. Handball over the top, Harvey, forced to kick with his left foot in towards the middle of the ground. Kick it, gathers the ball and then spins around onto his left foot. Goes across the half-back line. Oh, he's given it up. Brilliantly anticipated by Fraser. And Fraser goes in and misses from Darren Pritchard area.
One of the problems with Mark Fraser's game, he runs so quickly and with such long strides, he has trouble getting balance for his final kicking step, and he's not a good kick on the run because of that long striding action, and he's never quite completely balanced when he kicks the ball.
27 scoring shots to 14. Kelly to kick in for Sydney. Outside 50. Nearly the mark taken by O'Connor. Gatherers by Mercedes. Just about hands it to O'Connor. O'Connor gets a kick out of it. It falls to Mercury. Mercury goes in from a difficult angle. And it may have gone across the face. The goal umpire could tell that ball went in very quickly. But it's been deemed as out of bounds on the full. So the free kick for the Sydney Swans to be taken in their right back pocket. Surely by Peter Philandia.
Mark Fraser being interchanged. Surely it's not just for missing that goal. In fact, he's come to the interchange bench, but he's gone back onto the field. So someone's changed their mind down there.
Now, this is what I was talking about. The goal umpire signalled, I'm sure, that it was out of bounds on the full. The boundary umpire from this near side of the ground has awarded a behind to Essendon. Philandia kicks it out wide, and mark is taken by Stafford.
And Crawford away towards Lockett at centre-half forward. Had a chance there, Lockett. Fletcher will use his pace here. Lockett in pursuit. They try and clean him up. Simons, Lockett still going with Fletcher. Oh, careful, boys.
Fletcher might...
that's a bit...
He's all right. He's done well to recover there.
About to say that the fans there were a bit overzealous cheering all that.
Well, he's pretty pleased with his effort, and assuredly so.
So the throw in Carey and also O'Connor thumper back. Is he bleeding, Fletcher?
Maybe on the
forehead, I think he is. So the Swans trailing pretty badly now. 9 goals, 5 to 12-16. So Fletcher will stay on until the umpires just spot him. Now free kick to Carey. Kicks to Stafford, gets back, takes it. Denham holds him up. And Stafford a long way out, Lockett wanting it deep.
See the Essendon players just dropping off their man, covering all the holes. If it does go to Lockett, it'll be a sort of a 1-on-3 contest.
Hasn't kicked a goal this season, Stafford. And kick from 55. Gee, Torpedo, he's given it a ride. It's close. It's a wonderful kick. He's kicked one now, Lee.
Well, that was fantastic. I mean, really, you wouldn't have thought he would have kicked the distance. He's shortened, he wouldn't with a drop punt. And that really is the time to go for the Torpedo. I mean, he was outside drop punt distance, but really that long Torpedo, even with a very heavy ball, which will be getting very heavy now, it came back with the breeze. It was just a lovely kick. There's something special when you see it torpedoing through the air like that.
22,000 fans here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Dustin Fletcher on the interchange bench being attended to. That cut when he paid a visit to the front row down here in the members area.
That's a great crowd, isn't it? 22,000 here tonight.
Well, I think they said in the lead up to the first bounce that it could be a record. Now, is it a record for Swans versus Essendon maybe? But free kick here to Stafford. Didn't he kick a magnificent goal? He plays on and kicks it high to half forward. No one home for the Swans. You wonder who he was trying to kick that to. They've given the ball up. Harvey, very well done, finds Cummings. Cummings is on centre wing. He can go short, and he does. Just gave it up there as if he was going to go long and then went short to Berbatov. Berbatov is at left half forward. He hooks the kick in towards the centre half forward area. Seymour, that may have been touched off the boot. It's play on. The Swans defence force it out close to the line. Philandia harassed out there by Cummings. The mark has been taken. It's Crawford. Crawford plays on, kicks it in towards the middle of the ground. Joe Mercedes, Chapman, run down by Simons. Ball spills for Pryor. Now it comes back to Young. Young goes to Denham. Denham quickly. He's a scrambler. Sean Denham to half forward, and the mark is taken back there by McPherson.
Swings it wide. Philandia, the man, finds him. Sydney raising another effort here. Grant on the lead. Can he get rid of Cockatoo Collins? Does, then goes to ground, picks himself up. Normally good on the left. He's got Lockett. I like that, Grant. Gee, twice in this last quarter he's shown a cool head for a teenager.
2 years ago, I think he was drafted, I think, either 1 or 2 by the Swans and was regarded as one of the very best young players. He had a bad ankle injury, I think it was, that interrupted his season last year. And I think tonight's the best game I've seen him play to this point. But I think there'll be very, very many more good games that he'll play in his career.
Well, this to keep Sydney in with just a chance. They trail by 23 points, getting deep into the last quarter. Lockett for his 7th goal. He's got it. There's a long way to go yet, but there's still some hope. 71 to 88 as Fletcher's about to come back on, and Lockett's got 7 goals. It's a remarkable performance on a night like tonight out of the 10.
Yes, he's been able to find space down there. I don't think it's one of the vintage Lockett tonight. He hasn't just outmarked his opponent like every time the ball's gone down there, but he's been able to get clear and drop into space, and on those occasions the Swans players have delivered the ball quite well.
Cockatoo Collins off the ground and Chris Danaher back on. Essendon may get clear of the centre. Kelthorpe gets away from Luff. Now Simons gives away a bit of ground. Back to the captain O'Donnell. O'Donnell to half forward. Nearly taken by Seymour. Under pressure at half back. The Swans will get clear. This is Arnott. Arnott's kicked to half forward. It's punched away from Grant. The ball will spill. Fraser leaves it for Harvey, but he's just cleaned up and out of the way. Grant in towards half forward. Out in front and beautifully onto the chest of Lockett. The momentum is with the Swans. Whether there's enough time left. Under 7 minutes. And Lockett for his 8th goal.
Another magnificent pass by Grant. He saw Lockett drop into that part of the field, hooked the ball across his body out in front. Yeah, very good play.
So Tony Lockett, 7 goals from 11 kicks. Can he make it 8 from 12? There's a big roar about to come up here at the Sydney Cricket Ground if Tony Lockett can get his 8th goal. And he has, and watch the crowd. 8 goals to Lockett. 11 points is the margin, 6 minutes left.
I couldn't help thinking the last time I was at the Sydney Cricket Ground, last match last year when Lockett was doing this to Collingwood in that last round. But Essendon have still got the lead, but certainly the 11-point lead. The game is right in the balance, and the Swans have just developed the momentum just the last 5 minutes.
Gee, they're roaring. That's a great kick by Lockett from there. And Shannon Grant has been quite brilliant. So Sydney coming home with a rush. 12-5, 12-16. Creswell out of the centre. Bouncing ball. Doolan back on it. Takes a while. Gets the handball. Pressure. Free kick to Grant. No. Play on call. Essendon kept there quickly and hold it up. And Grant's playing some sort of a last quarter. You wouldn't want him to get the footy if you're an Essendon fan or player right now, because every time he touches it, something happens. He's had 20 touches tonight. 50 metres from goal. Luff out of the air. Couldn't quite. Denham. Philandia held it up. Chapman. Clever. Not quite. Now Philandia. Round the body. Blazing and out of bounds. But in the pocket. And Sydney in attack. Plenty of time left for 2 goals. They seem out of it, the Swans, 5 minutes ago. 11 points the margin. It's been close most of the night, but then Essendon got away halfway through the 3rd quarter. Philandia again after it. They're coming home well, Sydney. At half forward, Grant, clever, kept it in, brings it back to kicker. Well, everything he touches is turning to gold, Shannon Grant. And this man loves a stage, and one has been set for him right now. If he can dob this one through, Sydney are back within a kick.
Play in front, wet ball, last quarter, that's where the kick's going to go more often than not. When players are tired, the ball's heavy, the ball's usually going to drop short and kick it red at the best off Grant's boot.
It'll take a great kick. That is a beauty! Have a look at that one! Sometimes you get a feeling, don't you, in footy, and the moment he took the mark, I reckon the odds were with him that he'd dob 13-5 to 12-16.
It's an amazing game. The match was dead and buried. Essendon were running away with it about 10 minutes ago, and the Swans have got that 1 goal, got the momentum going, and the crowd's roaring. It's going to take some composure by Essendon now to hold the Swans off.
Gee, this is a good kick, though.
A lock from one side and then kick it from this side.
It was a terrific kick. The umpire throwing it in the air. Fraser couldn't break any sort of a tackle to get the ball onto his boot, and the umpire will have to restart play once again. Under 5 minutes left, and the Bombers with a slender lead. They led by nearly 5 goals not so long ago. Chances with Harvey. Harvey a high ball. Out towards a vacant wing half-forward area. It'll bounce close to the line. And taking it over is Kelthorpe. Umpire indicates everything okay there. Boundary umpire will throw it in.
And Chris Danaher's been put on Shannon Grant. I think the instruction stop that man getting the ball.
So Carey to do the ruck work. James Hurd for Essendon. Trying to take the ball out of the air. Kelthorpe. Maxfield. Kelthorpe held, didn't have the football. And in a tight finish, I just quite wonder whether that was a justifiable free kick. Kelthorpe kicks into the man on the mark. And the Swans player bashes it over the boundary line. Well done by McPherson. He gets a few pats on the ruck for his efforts, but Kelthorpe disappointingly into the man on the mark. A critical mistake.
Thrown right in front of us. Somerville at the back. He was back at centre-half back a moment ago and has come forward and belted the ball 20 metres towards Essendon's goal. It's about 80 metres from their goal at the moment. They need another one. They're 12-16, Sydney 13 goals 5. Stafford, think back to that torpedo punt of Stafford's in this last quarter. Now Chapman, a good chance for Sydney. Carey, well done to Creswell. Creswell quickly onto the boot. A chance for Mercedes, did it well in front of Kickett, out towards Harvey, important play here, he's got Fletcher down the ground, can Arnott take it off him? Harvey played for it and won it. It was experience counting there. Harvey knew that eventually he was outnumbered and he couldn't let the ball get away from him.
He was going up and down in the one spot mark, Harvey, and he did play it well in the finish.
He used every bit of that experience he's had over the years. Roos, Hurd lifting, Simons, Miss Mercury, Young, back to Mercury, who's a beautiful handball. Fraser, this will test him on the run. It looks close. He's missed again, Lee, in a similar situation. And those misses we're reminded of again now for Essendon. Those 7 or 8 shots that they've had for goal tonight that have been gettable and not all that difficult and missed.
Could we have another draw?
Oh, why not?
6 points is the margin. Dyson kicks into the far side and a push out. Maybe the advantage is with the Swans. Stafford, handballs wide. Luff goes down the ground. Kickett's on his own. He may go in. He gets past the opposition. Kicks towards full forward. It's close. It's just offline, and Derek Kickett is a frustrated man. He kicked a magnificent goal just a few minutes ago. It's 5 points in favour of the Bombers. 3 minutes left. Well, there's some pressure on some players out there now. Pryor kicks in and finds O'Donnell.
He'll try and use it, O'Donnell. And try and find his man. The captain directing a bit of traffic. It's tightened right up now. What a big match this is for the two clubs in the context of this season. Very short, gets Young. Now,
gee, there's too much time left for them to mess around like this, isn't it? 2.5 minutes.
Sitting on it. They won't know exactly how long to go. Young in the back pocket. Centre wing the kick. Stafford, great fly. Seymour must use it. Oh, good handball. Out wide to Crawford. Crawford, beautiful kick to Carey all on his own. The kid's got a chance to put him in front in his first game of footy.
Oh no, they're bringing the ball back.
What's happened?
Playing the Stafford mark.
Oh.
Can't play advantage from a marking situation. It's a very unlucky ball for the Swans, I must say, but I suppose once the umpire paid the mark, that's the only thing that can happen.
Ironic, isn't it? That they've paid that great mark and it's cost them so dearly, and Stafford may give it straight back to Essendon. One hand there by Pryor. Sydney able to keep it there, so it's going to be a throw up with Sydney attacking 30 metres from goal. 13-6 to 12-17. Well, a moment ago, Carey had the chance. Creswell, well done, Mercedes, very well done. Then tries to ride a tackle, out to centre wing, every ball important. Hurd tries to bring it forward, then concedes a bit of ground to Young. Beautifully robbed by Kelly. We haven't seen enough of that tonight because he's been playing as a defender. Sydney player crunched.
Scrag. Oh, dear. That's terrific.
Desperate situation now, and that's sort of both players from both sides are really going at it the only way you can, desperately at every contest.
Don't you admire that? I mean, everybody gets a terrific buzz out of that sort of footy. The umpire throws it in the air, 50 metres from the Swans' goal. There'll be a sad loser here because it's been a terrific battle. The ball is in front of the Swans' goal. Rocket away to Crawford. Crawford's kicked the ball, and the Swans are in front.
He's a player, that Lockett, isn't he, Lee?
Well, really, wet, slippery ball. He's come out, he's met it in his toes. I mean, big man, as we know, great mark. But the ability to take the first possession and then think his way clear, set up that goal. I mean, real desperate play by all concerned.
What a finish. Sydney coming home like a train here. They've hit the front. 14-6 to 12-17. Probably time for one more goal either way. It'll be the winner. Denham out wide. Doolan. O'Donnell had a fumble. Harvey, a cool head required. The kick to centre half forward. Heard! What a mark! Came from the side. He's got Cummings in the goal square. He can kick a long ball. He's going to go torpedo punt. Gets onto it. It's going and going and going, and he misses. It's a behind.
It was interesting, that centre bounce.
Scores are level. Sorry, Lee.
Well, the Swans actually pulled their loose man back in defence and Essendon had about 3 guys spare on their half-back line, and that initiated the launch. It maybe is going defensive just a minute too early.
Look at that scoreboard. 20 shots to 30. It's all square at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
40 seconds left.
Dyson's long ball to half-back. Stafford and Somerville. A score for anyone wins it. Simon's after it. Kick it to try and run him down. Simons pushes it out in the direction now of Barry Young. Philandia, well done. Now Arnott. A youngster's got to keep a cool head. Bangs it to centre wing. Fletcher missed it. Carey, well done. Beautiful hands to Roos. Roos out wide. It looks like it might be a draw. It's centre wing. It's a long way from Essendon's goal, and it's a long way from Sydney's goal. This has been a fantastic comeback by the Swans. A wonderful finish to an exciting match of football that for about 5 minutes in this last quarter seemed dead and buried until Stafford kicked a booming torpedo punt. Could Sydney get another one? Crawford goes in there, and there's 2 or 3 players, including Berbatov, all over the top. And the betting now is that this will be a draw. And for Sydney, it's like a win.
He'll throw the ball in the air and the siren will go, Bruce.
And it'll be the one that gets away again for Essendon, you'd think, even though they had the last score in this match. The throw up, and that's it, it's a draw. For the second time this season.
I reckon that's pretty fair because Essendon perhaps could have won, should have won. The Swans